between the downtime of, not having the channel up and running because of technical issues, I revisited a lot of films. And one film I did check out here, which you may or may not be familiar with, is The Flesh and the Fiends. Now, The Flesh and the Fiends was released on a double bill with Horrors of Spider Island by Pacemaker Pictures in 1960. It was released as The Fiendish Ghouls. It also has another title called Mania. The thing was sold to broadcast TV as The Fiendish Ghouls, but as far as I know, only ran once, and I never saw it again. The film is hard to watch. It's a rough film. It basically captures the poverty, the filth, and the hopelessness of that era. And it's the story of Burke and Hare and Dr. Knox. Now, if you don't know the story of Burke and Hare, they were two grave robbers who basically sold corpses to Dr. Knox. Well, sometime they figured out that it's easier just to kill people and sell their bodies. So what happened in this film is that Dr. Knox is played by Peter Cushing, who plays this one up to the hilt. Dr. Knox does not give a shit where the bodies come from. He is just out there to advance medical science and teach his students how to be doctors. Well, Burke and Hare, and Hare is played by a very sleazy young Donald Pleasance, and Burke is played by George Rose. They're a bunch of layabouts just sitting in taverns getting drunk when Burke has a boarding house where he rents out beds, and one of his tenants has passed on. So rather than bury the poor woman, they decide to try to get into the body selling business and sell the body to Dr. Knox. Well, Dr. Knox has an assistant, a student, who basically can't get his shit together, and he's an assistant there, and he runs into Burke and Hare as they bring in this corpse. Well, prior to that, he was sent to pay off two other body snatchers and was the victim of a mugging by Burke and Hare. It was broken up by this bar girl named Mary, who he starts to have a relationship with. But Mary does not like to sit home and watch him study. Mary wants to go out to party, which causes problems. Anyway, another tenant comes in from out of town to rent the bed that was vacated, and he gets Q&A'd by Burke and Hare, who find out that he has no ties to the town that they are in, nor does he have any living relatives. So he winds up as another victim, which basically another doctor is there, Dr. Knowles, who raises questions about the bruise on this guy's head and the blood leaking out his nose. Obviously something's wrong, but he is blown off by Dr. Knox. Now, Mary has a big blowout with her beau and winds up getting drunk with Burke and Hare. Hare tries to rape her, which doesn't go too well, so he accidentally kills her. Well, why waste a good corpse? They decide to sell the body to Dr. Knox, only the student is in there and finds out who it is and goes after Burke and Hare. Knox and Dr. Knowles see him run out and know what's going on, and Knowles once again tells Knox, "Why are you buying bodies off these people?" Well, Hare kills the student as he's choking the life out of Burke. They decide to dump the body, but are accosted by this beggar named Daft Jamie, who they tell that they're bringing their drunk friend home. Well, Jamie's not stupid. He sees them dump the body and steals the ring off the guy's finger. He makes his mistake when he confronts them with maybe a little shakedown, maybe to sell them the ring, so they tell him to bring the ring over to their house and they'll buy it off him. Well, they try to kill him in a rough scene because basically he fights them and winds up outside in a pigsty where they're basically smothering him in the pig crap. Another woman of the night, Maggie, sees this and reports it to the police and also tells them that she thinks that if they go to Dr. Knox's, they'll find the body of Jamie and Mary, which they do. So now there's a whole mob scene because it just comes to light that all these people that have been hanging out in these pubs and bars and stuff didn't know that Burke and Hare have been killing people like them, right out in the open. So they corner the two in a warehouse, and they are put on trial, and Hare turns basically king's evidence against Burke, and Burke is hung in a pretty horrific scene because basically they don't drop him through a chute, they just pull him up and choke him to death. Hare is in the custody of the police. They let him go. He sneaks out the back where he is grabbed by the townspeople, and they burn his eyes out with a torch in a gruesome scene. All of this is very, very, foul and violent, and not so much implied, but it's there. And Knox is basically taken to task by his own medical board, which wants to disbar him. But Dr. Knowles comes to his defense saying, do any other people really investigate where you get these bodies from? And Knox is walking around when he is accosted by a beggar girl, and he doesn't have any coins, but he says, if you come to my house, I'll give you some. And she goes, oh, no, you might kill me and sell me to Dr. Knox. So there's his reality shock right there, which sort of, makes him really look at what he's been doing all along. And, he's acquitted by the medical board because, probably most of those people on the board are just as guilty as he is for buying stolen bodies. So it sort of ends, where basically he's not going to do this shit anymore and he's basically a better human being. But like I said, this film is rough to watch, and Cushing excels as the Dr. Knox, character, because he's a complete dirtbag until, the reality sets in. And as for Donald Pleasance and George Rose as Burke and Hare, well, they're sufficiently so fucking slimy that you want to kill them yourself. So, this is one of those films that sort of slipped through the cracks. Didn't do well on broadcast TV because it's such a downer. But it's a very well shot, very well directed, and very well acted film. And like I said, it just captures that, basically filthy ambiance of that era. And there was two versions. There was a Continental version released, which basically is on the DVD I just showed up, which is now available on Blu-ray, where there was ample nudity in the Continental version, which was taken out, for the British and American version. So again, it was, like I said, released in 1960, paired with another cool film, The Horrors of Spider Island, which I'll get to eventually. But like I say, definitely worth a look, and there's some great acting in there. So, all right, we're going to end this one. This is 42nd Street Pete saying, please stay safe. We got to mask up again. We're dealing with fucking idiots, and let's just hope we all come out of this in one piece. So until next time, see you on the flip side.
Thank you.